Thank you everyone for joining. So this session, we're going to focus on the HR tech and AI market trends of 2025. A lot of the data that I'm going to present is from my HR tech database, Stakkd. So we're going to have like real-time insights from what you all are doing in the database, what you're searching for, but also just in general, how you can be more successful with your HR tech, implementations and what you can do to really start your transformations internally in the organizations, but also personally. So a little bit about me. I'm Jess, if you don't know me. I'm Australian and I live in Berlin, Germany. I'm a boy mom to a 2-year-old called Hugo, and I'm also, I originally started not in HR actually. I started in transformation projects and then I fell into HR. And then recently I turned founder, founding the HR tech database I just mentioned called Stakkd, where you can find hundreds of HR, tech products and AI tools, and recently founded Humans in the Loop community. I'm also a little bit contrary. So if you know me from LinkedIn or any of my newsletters, you know that I have an opinion, and I'm a little bit spicy sometimes, but at the end of the day, I love connecting with everyone and I hope that people understand, where I'm coming from. And of course, I'm HR tech and AI obsessed. That's why I'm in this space. So let's jump into things. This slide kind of doesn't mean much, right? You've probably seen all these things before where you have the market, we're this size, we're growing to this size. This is just showing us that the HR tech market is going to grow in the next, 5 to 7 years. It is going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We all feel it. There's a lot of noise. And all this is showing is that it's going to go from 40 billion to over 80 billion, right? It's going to grow. But what does that actually mean for us? Well, if you're looking at Stakkd, so this data is coming from the Stakkd database, the small to medium kind of business market, mid-sized market, there's been in the last 10 years, 216% increase in HR tech products. So if we're looking at if you even think back to around COVID time, there were a lot less products on the market. There was a lot less that you could do and have and, basically digitize even 5 years ago. And we're seeing that there's just a massive amount of products flooding the market now with AI, but also with, it being lower barrier to entry for people to found tech products. And half of the database was founded in the last 6 years. So half of the 300 and something products in there are really recent products. So you really can find like the latest tech. And of which in the database, there's 300 or something, right? 60% reference AI in how they describe their product, which is crazy because that means you, who are all out there trying to navigate the market, trying to pick, which tool, which AI, what am I going to use, has so much to choose from. And so now we jump a little bit deeper into the database insights. So we've had thousands and thousands of views on the database, people in there searching for products. And you can see here that the top 5 filtered features. So on the database, you can filter on different features in products. The top 5 that people are searching for, so all-time search or filter, is AI, who would have guessed, 360 and one-on-ones, so around this development space, analytics, so people analytics, and performance management. And it's interesting because I feel like that's what I see a lot of the current topics also online about when you look at what, the kind of market is talking about right now. We're looking at AI, we're looking at how do we develop our people, how do we get better at using analytics in HR, and how do we manage performance? It's always the biggest topic is performance. It's always the topic no one likes, but we all have to do. And that also flows into people's search and filter combinations. So there's filters where you can click them on and off, and then there's an open search text bar. And in there, people are searching and applying a filter at the same time. And the most common combination is performance and AI. So people are looking for performance management tools that have AI, as well as core HR tools that have AI, and compensation tools that have AI. I mean, you could kind of guess that AI was going to show up, but it is quite interesting to see that performance, core HR, and compensation are the 3 most searched and filtered topics in the database right now. And then looking here, this is the last month, so rolling month. You can see on Stakkd all the time the trending products. So what are people looking at right now? So in the last month, we've had these trending products. We have Humans, which is a core HRIS tool. Waggle AI, which is like a leadership co-pilot that jumps into your calls and kind of assesses what's going on and tells you like how to be a better leader, more or less. And then Buddies HR, which is like a Slack app for engagement for things like birthdays, etc. And then HR Bench is people analytics tool. And Harriet is an AI operations tool, so it helps you with all your people ops topics. So interesting to see what people are looking at. They're very broad across different categories. And you can then, again, see the categories that are trending, which are core HR, ATS, AI operations, talent management, which includes all your performance management, and then you have sourcing as well. And sourcing is one of the biggest categories, and I would say I talk to the most amount of companies around AI sourcing tools, which is crazy. They are going like it's probably one of the easiest things to, I would say, automate with AI. I think that's why we're seeing a lot of them, but these are the insights that we're getting like from the database, from HR professionals that are searching in the database, what they're viewing and what are they searching for, which is really, really interesting. And then we jump to where are things headed? So if we think about where things are going, there's a couple of things we need to think about, or at least that I'm predicting in the next couple of years that are going to be the topics. So there's going to be a differentiation needed in the market because, as I said before, 60% of the database has AI referenced about their product. So how does that help you if you're searching for AI and everything has AI? Well, I think we need some kind of labeling, some kind of bucket, some differentiating, factors that we can say, okay, what is actually AI native? So what is really like recent built on the AI that we speak of today versus what is your traditional SaaS product plus AI? That has had AI elements added to it. And I think we need to differentiate because it makes it easier for the user, for the buyer to actually know what they're looking for. But I think it's important also when we look at, marketing that we understand as users and buyers what the difference is when people say AI powered. Because of course, AI powered is the biggest term right now, which I'm sure you've all experienced. And what else? Consolidation. Now, consolidation seems a bit obvious, but the more and more products that are on the market, they're not all going to survive. And actually, since I founded Stakkd and had even vendors sign up to the database and become clients of mine, I've had 2 of them actually close in that period in 6 months. So we're seeing that there will be businesses that don't make it. It's just a matter of fact, businesses just won't all make it. And the other businesses will probably be eaten up by bigger players. Bigger players won't be able to make the products as fast and as agile, so they're going to buy the fast and agile players. So I think we'll see more and more of that. And of course, what we will see is AI compliance come into play. It's a topic that I see in almost every single webinar, community forum, everything to do with AI. It's like, this is great, but there's a compliance aspect that we're all kind of like questioning how we handle what do we do there. And I think there's going to be some standards that need to come into play. Like we have our ISO standards and we have our GDPR compliance. We're going to have standards where you don't just ask for your SOC 2 and your ISOs, you're also going to be asking for your AI compliance standards when you're looking at buying tech. There's going to be industry standards that we're going to have to agree on and understand in the market. And as buyers, we're going to have to be informed the quality of those standards. And there's going to be things that we have to do on our side as the buyer, but there will be things that the tech vendor has to do on their side. And then if we have a look at AI compliance products, that's also a new space that's popping up. So there's some tools. I think there's one called Fair Now. It's basically AI that monitors your AI. So it knows every single AI in your business. It knows all of the risks. It like flags things. It tells you where it could potentially have a risk against the different, compliance areas that it should. And I think this is going to be something every single business has and will need to have. If they don't build it themselves, they're going to buy it. And we're going to see more and more products, I think, in this space to help us navigate and kind of keep control in a business of what's going on and that kind of governance and compliance aspect. Now, if there's any questions, I can't actually see, but if there are, Would love for you to please put them in the thing if you want to. I've got to get rid of the chat off my screen. Okay, so one of the biggest questions once we look at the market and what products are available, you're like, cool, cool, cool. But how do we actually start? Like, what do we actually do? And the transition is going to be messy. Like, I come from a transformation background. It's not easy. Transition and change like this is not easy. Digital transformation has been a topic for a long time. And I think in HR, we have been traditionally not great at doing digital transformation. Like we do struggle as a function. We're not necessarily choosing the right tools. We're not necessarily trained in procurement all the time. And I think we do the best we can with the tools that we've been given or the resources that we were given. But it is something that we're going to have to get better at. And it is something that we have to like delve into and dive into. And it is going to be horrible to go from A to B. And I think that everyone should just be okay with that. Like it is going to be messy. Let's just do it anyway. One of the most interesting things I read recently was from Josh Bersin. He's like a huge, HR tech analyst. And he said, we, as in HR, have to find a way to be productive while we're trying to make the company productive. So HR is really the only function in the business that, whilst having to transform themselves and how they operate, which is like, let's say, marketing, they need to transform how they operate, how they use AI. So does HR within HR. But HR also has to enable the business to do it as well. They're also enabling ways of working in the business. So not only do you have to worry about yourself and your own function, but worry about the rest of the business and what they're doing. So I feel like HR has the hardest job when it comes to AI transformation. And that's why I said it's going to be messy and we are going to have to get better at how we transition. So if we know it's messy and we know it's going to be hard, how do we start with it? So from a personal perspective, I think there's things that we need to train ourselves on. We need to upskill in certain areas, things like systems thinking, data infrastructure, human and AI process design, agent orchestration. So who's actually controlling and monitoring and like making sure these AI agents do what they should be doing. Like these will be jobs. And these will be jobs of the future that we will need in HR. Knowledge management. Who's going to document all of those really company-specific things that for AI to ingest? Because it's not just going to work without data. We need our data and we need it to be documented and we need it to be available for it to get to, consume it. So I think these are areas where if you're thinking about like the future, these skill sets in these areas are places to maybe put some effort or some interest into, some curiosity, and start expanding your skill set in that space. This is on a personal note. And join communities. Keep up to date, keep in the loop, see what other people are doing, share. Like we don't have to do it alone. The HR community is amazing at connecting and is amazingly supportive. So don't do it alone. Do it together, ask questions, like reach out to me if you want to. I'm very approachable, like have conversations and don't just like sit at work being like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. There is help out there. Okay. And then on a company perspective, now this slide is a little bit more, so hopefully I'll talk it through so it's hopefully digestible. If you think about where to start in a company, people are like, how do you choose the right tech? How do you evaluate them the best? What is the best one? There's a couple of things that need to happen in business that I believe are critical for these things to work correctly, and things that need to happen in HR that aren't happening currently. Like I talked about, the HR team has to basically reinvent itself. It needs to rebuild itself. It needs to build itself based on AI. It needs to go through its own transformation. And that's on the side there where you see those purple boxes. The top one, people operating model. That needs to be right. The way in which HR work and how it delivers on work needs to be first working. Before you go in and add more and more tech, you need to understand what is your operating model going to look like. You need to use portfolio management principles, second box in purple. Portfolio management is around how do you decide what to invest in. So it's a mechanism you can use to look at basically balancing and prioritizing what resources are going to work on what topics when. And it's something that is very strategic. If you want to be strategic HR, do these things. And then change takes time. So it needs investment. So just remember that. And you need AI principles. I think the Duolingo and the Spotify CEOs have come out very openly and said they're AI first. All companies need to have AI principles and some kind of directive. Once you have those, then it's about what is the company strategy? Where is the business going? It's all very contextual. You're buying tech for your business, not for everyone else. So it has to fit what the business needs at the right time. So company strategy, you need to align to that. You need to find the gaps in the business. Where you're not delivering, what are the processes? Do your research on the market, use things like Stakkd, go to the database, check things out, and then get a roadmap. I don't know any HR team that has an AI or a tech roadmap, but we need to have one. So if you don't have one, recommend getting one and working on getting one. All right. Then the last thing is how to actually do the project and do the implementation quickly and effectively. So we don't have time. We know we have to do a lot of stuff. So if there's 3 things that you can focus on when you're actually implementing tech and like doing the project, once you're like, I'm picking, I've got to pick this tech, how do I start? Do like the 20% of stuff to make you, and the 20% of planning that's going to give you the most amount of outcomes, right? Assessment matrix. You need an assessment matrix. You need to assess what criteria you are looking for, and it needs to be consistent across all tech tools that you're assessing. It needs to be there. If you don't have that, have a template at resources.stakkd.tech. It's free, you download it, you can use it, like you need it. If you don't have them and you're doing a tech assessment, get one. And a project hub. Everyone needs to have a space to go to. You need a schedule. You need to know who your stakeholders are. You need to do the basics of project management. Again, I have a template for that. Like, use these things. Like, you can just take them. They're available. Don't forget to do project management basics properly. And then champions. So champions, find people in the business who are keen on your project, keen on topics, get them bought in and get them helping you to get the company on board. It's a proven change management tactic, but really having like especially another C-level on board championing it will really, really help. And I think that's more or less all we have time for. But I really want to keep the conversation going because that was a lot of information. I was trying to touch on everything, the market, Stakkd insights, what can you do personally? What can we do in businesses? Where's the market going? There's a lot in this space and there's a lot to do, but you don't have to do it alone. And I hope that this was informative. I hope it was not too much. So please reach out to me, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to have, like I said, conversations with you all and, join the community. And yeah, I really appreciate everyone's time today. Hope you enjoy the rest of your sessions. And now I hope I get told what I should do. If there's any questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat now as well. On any of the things that I discussed or any things that came to your mind as I was speaking. Thanks so much. Thanks, Marika.